Welcome back to Economics with Mr. Sturgeon. Today we're going to be going over lesson 1.4, Understanding Demand. So what is demand? Well, that's going to be the amount of a product that consumers want or that they need. So think about it in terms of when you open up a store, how many people want your product or how many people want your service? That's going to be your demand. And where is that on the graph? Well, as review, the demand line always goes down to the dirt. So anytime you see a graph, you will know that the line that goes down to the dirt, whether it's curved or whether that it's more flat, that is your demand line, the amount people want. Then you will use your quantity and your price to also find the demand for a product. Yes, the supply also affects demand. So all four of these things we will need when we try to find your demand. So what affects demand? Well, think of it in terms of a latte or a coffee. Think about if you went to Starbucks and the price for your coffee began to increase. Well, as the price increases, your demand will go the opposite way. So as price increases, so here we have a graph, as price increases, your demand will actually decrease. And I know it looks a little awkward because this line looks to be going up towards price, but remember, we're also using quantity to find out the demand. So as price increases, your demand will be less. Now, when price decreases, so as price goes down, you can see that your demand will also go down. So as price goes up, demand goes down. As price goes down, demand goes up. So think of them as always acting opposite of one another, price and demand. Now, supply, we also have to think about supply because we don't just need to think about demand. But when price increases, remember, we're going to want to sell more because now it's more expensive. We can actually sell more for higher prices. So as price increases, supply will also increase. As price decreases, as we have to start selling it for less, our supply will actually decrease. Now, there are exceptions to these rules, and we will go over those exceptions, but let's try it on a graph right now. Let's say we're looking for demand, so D. And the price you have been given is $3. At $3 for your price, what is the demand? But also, let's try to find supply as well. So look for your supply and look for your demand at $3. Well, at $3, we're going to go across. We're going to hit this first line. Is that the supply or the demand line? Well, we see it goes up to the sky, so that's the supply line. So at $3, we know our supply is 3 units. We are going to supply 3 units of whatever we're selling. Now let's find demand. At $3, what is our demand? Well, we're going to skip this first line because that's the supply line, and we're going to go to the second line, which is our demand line. So at our demand line, there are 7 people demanding our product because it's only $3. Now, if we increase price, demand would go down to 1, 2, or 3. But supply would go up because remember, when price increases, so will supply. When price decreases, supply will go down. And then you have demand working opposite of price. So as price goes up, you're going to see demand is very low. As price goes down, you're going to see demand is very high. So here's another example. The U.S. produces 1 million cows a year and sells them for $100 a cow. Well, what happens when citizens demand more cows? We want more cows. But the production or the supply stays the same. What's changed? Supply or demand? Well, if we're looking at this problem, we can see more citizens want more cow. So our demand has changed. Then, if our demand continues to go up, so our demand continues to go up, what will change? Well, if supply is staying the same, but more people are demanding something, the price will actually go up. So even though this graph looks like demand is increasing, yes it is, but actually because of the price and because we're not supplying more, the price will go up. So that's some variables that will be thrown into supply and demand graphs. And here's a perfect example. Why don't some suppliers increase supply if there is a high demand? Because like we've learned previously, as demand increases, it'll increase when price decreases. So demand's going to increase only when price decreases. However, there are exceptions to this rule. So what are those exceptions? Well, here we go. They're called monopolies, luxury, or Veblen goods. These are goods that have little competition, or are very scarce, or are very rare. Or, like we said, they're luxury goods. Prada, Fendi, Carhartt, Calvin Klein, Gucci, a lot of clothing brands, but, there's a lot of other companies out there that are considered luxury goods, Lamborghini. So, what happens with these monopolies or these luxury goods is either they're very rare or that they are scarce, or they have little competition. Now, what happens when these things occur is that producers can increase price. They can also limit the supply. But even if they do that, demand will still increase, which goes against the rule we looked at earlier. It's similar to this situation. Production's going to stay the same, supply's staying the same, demand has gone up. So now people can charge more for cows, even though supply is staying the same. And so how does this happen? Well, here's an example. This is Martin Shkreli. Martin Shkreli bought a drug company. Now, this drug company pretty much had the sole pill or the sole medicine to help patients with HIV. Because Martin Shkreli and his medical company had very little competition or no competition, they were essentially a monopoly, especially in America, they were able to increase the price of their good. They even could limit the supply, how much was given out. However, even though they were increasing the price, making it $13.50 per pill to $750 a pill, the demand still increased because they had little competition, or it was a scarce or a rare resource. You also have goods like, let's just say, Supreme. Supreme, they make very limited amounts. And because they make very limited amounts, they can increase the price for their goods and demand will still increase, which goes against this whole idea of when price increases, demand decreases. That isn't the case with monopolies or luxury or Veblen goods. When price increases for those things, demand will still increase as well. So this is one of the exceptions that we need to know. Remember, demand to the dirt. So as you can see with a normal good, when price increases, you will have demand decrease. However, that is the opposite with Veblen goods. As price increases, so as price goes up, your demand also goes up. So your demand is going to go up with Veblen or luxury goods, even though price is increasing. So as price is increasing, as it's going up, 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 your demand line is also going up, 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 which is not typical of most demand lines. As price goes up, this is a normal, this black line here, this is a normal good. As price goes up, demand should actually be going down. But a Veblen good is different. When price goes up, like Gucci or like Lamborghini or like Supreme, you're going to have demand actually go up as well. Now, this is also going to tie into our next lesson, a shortage or a surplus. And that's going to be our next lesson for economics, lesson 1.5. So thank you and enjoy.